Hello and welcome to Digital Farm TV Rural News. I'm Andy Walker. Domestic wheat prices have pulled away from international prices, moving higher as Australia enters the 2013-14 season with its lowest level of carryover wheat in 4 years. According to the latest National Australia Bank Agribusiness Commodities Wrap, tight domestic supply and strong demand have seen the commodity trade significantly above the historical average during the past 9 months. Looking at production, with favourable soil moisture levels, NAB forecast an Australian wheat crop of 24 million tonnes, an increase of 14% on last season, according to Head of Agribusiness for Northern Australia, David Brett. The Federal Court has found Steggles brand chicken products had engaged in deceptive conduct by describing in advertising that its chickens were free to roam in large barns. The Peak Industry Australian Chicken Meat Federation was found to have engaged in deceptive conduct also by claiming that chickens produced in Australia were free to roam or able to roam freely in large barns. Promotional activities that conveyed an impression of farming practices were powerful representations that influenced consumer choices, ACCC Commissioner Sarah Court said. The parties are to reappear next week for timetabling orders and submissions on relief, including penalties. The Western Australian Government will roll out the red carpet for China to invest in state agriculture, despite industry concerns over its blueprint for a $650 million dairy project to supply Shanghai. Western Australian Agriculture Minister Ken Baston said yesterday that he had asked his department to pursue foreign investment right across the industry in horticulture as part of the Ord expansion scheme in beef, grain growing and milk production. Mr Baston said the government made no apologies for a pre-feasibility study being shopped around to some of China's biggest dairy interests. The Department of Agriculture and Food Western Australian study provided a business plan for the production of 30,000 tonnes of whole milk powder a year and costings for the purchase of up to 17 farms in the southwest and Great Southern regions of the state. Struggling Victorian producers will have access to a share of $30 million in low-interest loans from Friday this week, according to the Australian newspaper. The federal and Victorian governments have approved the package that will allocate loans at a 4.5% concessional interest rate, as opposed to commercial loans that carry rates up to 16%. Federal Agriculture Minister Joel Fitzgibbon said that he was determined to secure a total of $420 million in low-interest concessional loans to ensure that farmers could get back on their feet. The assistance reportedly does not appear likely to extend to struggling dairy and beef farmers between Colac and Koroit in Western Victoria, who have run out of pasture and fodder for their herds. The federal government has appointed veterinary scientist Dr Michael Bond as the new Interim Inspector General of Biosecurity. Agriculture Minister Joel Fitzgibbon said Dr Bond's role would be to provide independent oversight of the national biosecurity system for 2 years from the 1st of July. Michael Bond has a veterinary science background. He retired recently as CEO of Animal Health Australia. Butcher shop sales across Australia during the April-June quarter were generally weaker this year compared with the same time in 2012. Beef, lamb, chicken and pork retail sales had slipped, according to MLA's butcher survey carried out by Millward Brown. Chicken and beef were reported by 39% of respondents as having excellent or very good sales, down from 44% and 42% respectively last year. Casserole cuts were identified as being more popular, reflecting the colder winter months. Finally this week, some very sad news from Canada. An Alberta rancher had sorry experience with livestock predation by grizzly bears last year, as well as with the compensation that slowly followed. 50 lambs disappeared from his pasture along the Belly River in October. The producer was eventually compensated this month for 16 lambs, because the others couldn't be confirmed as grizzly bear kills. They don't pay their bills very fast, said the sheep owner, who declined to be named. Well, that's it for Digital Farm TV Rural News this week. I'm Andy Walker. Look forward to your company again next week. Bye.